Yes, people, what is happening? Welcome back to another episode of my moto vlog. It's been a while since we've done one of these because it's been a while since I've been able to get out on the fucking motorbike. Hopefully we'll get some good views on this ride. There always is from where I live. But yeah, absolutely buzzing to be back on the bike. But in this moto vlog, what I'm going to be talking about is 3 things about being a type 1 diabetic. Hello, another biker, we love it, so many bikes out tonight, today even. So we're going to be speaking about 3 things about being a type 1 that scares me. And I wanted to do this because I think with being a coach for type 1 diabetics, it's what I do, it's what we're very fucking good at. And obviously owning the coaching company now, we've got 2 coaches that help us, that work for us. And I do have great glucose control, obviously. What I need to be a role model, don't I? Practice what you preach. I think some people might think that it doesn't scare me or it doesn't worry me, and that's not the case. I think as type 1s, we all get worried about the condition. Do you know what I mean? There are always these worries and stuff, and I wanted to just be really honest with you guys and share that. Now, I'm not putting this out to scare anyone or anything like that. I'm saying these are my personal kind of worries, things that do worry me. But at the end, I'm going to tell you why it's kind of a good thing, why I feel for me personally it's kind of a good thing. So make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Now, the first thing that worries me a lot, and I've spoke about this in a podcast, and it's this scenario, and I play this in my head sometimes, and this really does kind of keep me on track, which I'll speak more about at the end. But this scenario, it's me excuse me, being lay in a hospital bed, and if anyone's experienced this, I'm sorry, I'm just saying this is my personal worry. Me being lay in a hospital bed with really like severe health complications, could have, you know, organ failures and stuff like that, because I've not looked after myself and my health. God forbid, looking for one, not anyone, but this will never happen. It's me being laying in a hospital bed with my family, my loved ones, you know, mum, dad, friends around me, looking at me, and me knowing that I could have done better to prevent that situation. This is a big one for me, because this is, I'll speak about more about this at the end, but this thought that I think about quite often really does fucking keep me on track and drive me forward. So that's the first thing that really does sort of worry me, is not looking after myself. Worst case scenario happens, I start getting, you know, severe complications, organ failure, whatever it may be, being laying in hospital bed, and everyone that I love around me, and me being like, fucking hell, like I could have done better, I feel really bad for putting them through this. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I spoke about this on my Business Mentors podcast that I did. When I get the link for that, I'll fire it out, because I think there's a lot of valuable information that you'll be able to take as a type 1. The second thing that kind of like worries me is, I think, this is my personal opinion, right? I've got great control. I think those of us who've got great control, we get some lows and we get some highs, predominantly more the highs. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. We will never ever get rid of all the highs. And I think when you've had it, if you've had it for years and years and years, a very long time, I mean, I've only had it, I think, 14, 15 years at the moment. I think if you have a few highs, if you're running high all the time, then, do you know what I mean, obviously that's not right. Like, you need to change something. This is a fucking steep hill. Something needs to change, which is obviously what we help type 1s with. But even if you've got great control, a few highs every now and again, compounded over years and years and years, I think personally will start to like deteriorate our health in some way, shape or form, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm explaining this right. And I think that, and it's probably, I don't know if there's research, it probably is on this, that being a type 1 diabetic, let me just get past this. So I do think that being a type 1 diabetic, even if we have great control, I do think it will knock some years off our life, than in opposed to if we didn't have type 1 diabetes. There's nothing we can do about that. Like, we just do what we can to keep great control. But I think our bodies, even myself, everyone who's got great control, they're not functioning in an optimal way like a non-type 1. And I think compounded over time with a couple of highs here and there, I think it will compound, and whatever else goes on within our bodies as type 1s, like I think it probably will knock some years off my life. And that is another thing that does kind of worry me, right? So the first thing is obviously not taking care of myself, being in that situation in a hospital bed, and my friends and family and loved ones looking at me and being like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I could have done better, I'm sorry to put you through this. And the second one is the thing, I don't think about this as regularly as the first one, but it's to think that it possibly is going to knock some years off my life, then in opposed to if I wasn't a type 1 diabetic. And I'm pretty sure you can all understand what I'm saying, where I'm coming from with that. Yeah. So they're the first two. The third one isn't really a worry, but it's something I really want to get into, and it's what I dive in with all my clients with as well. And also type 1s that message me that say if you just got it, I'm really worried about my health, is this going to happen, I'm going to lose my eyesight, I'm going to lose my organs, going to fail, and all this. And this is the way that I view it. So this is kind of the third thing, and this is to help those of you who do worry a lot. As I said, the point number one I think about a bit, not really so much number two, but this is the big one, and this is kind of overarching everything. This is the way I see it, and I'm going to get right into it now. If we are, and if I'm doing everything in my power excuse me, to manage my diabetes and manage my glucose levels, and I know I have ticked every single fucking box possible, I'm eating well, I'm exercising, I'm staying active, I'm looking after my bloods, I'm constantly educating myself on the condition, which I have to with being a coach for type 1s anyway, and I'm ticking all the boxes of a healthy lifestyle. If I know that I am doing my fucking best, and God forbid something happens to me and my health from being a type 1, then you know what? I can accept and deal with that. Why? Because I have done fucking everything in my power. Everything in my power to live the healthiest life I possibly can. I say this a lot to clients. So if I know I'm doing all of everything in my power, I'm doing my best, and something happens with my health due to being a type 1, fine, I'm gonna have to live with that. I'm okay with that. On the flip side, and this is like the scenario number one, right? If I know that I'm not doing my best and I'm not looking after myself, I'm not taking care of myself, yeah, and something happens to my health as a type 1, for me personally, I think that's on me. I think that's on me, because I could have done better, and that would be the kicker. Let's say something happens to my eyes or my organs, and I'm like, fuck's sake, I know I could have done better, I'm going to have to take this and deal with this now. And this is no offence to any type 1s who have been through this situation, because I do speak to a lot of type 1s who have been like, you know what, hold my hands up, I wasn't great controlled, and X, Y and Z health conditions happened. I've worked with some type 1s like this, and I'm like, you know what, that's the past, learn from it now, fucking learn from it. But this isn't really a fear of mine, but it's something that I think about. Again, I'm going to say that again, point number 3. I know that if anything happens to me as a type 1 diabetic, look at that, how beautiful is that? I'm going to show up for a minute, let you see that, take this corner. I know that if anything happens to me as a type 1 diabetic, and I've done everything I can in my power, then I can accept that, I can live with that. If something happens to me as a type 1 in terms of health and that, it's all in terms of health, and I know, hand on heart, I've not done my best, that is going to be a fucking kick in the balls for me, and I don't think I could do it. I'd have to, but I'd always be like, oh, for fuck's sake. But again, like I say to people who haven't in the situation, everything happens for a reason, and you have to treat that as a lesson then. That has to be your wake-up call. That has to be a lesson. So a quick recap, 3 things, more so 2, but 3 I wanted to add some value in this, that I worry about personally as a type 1, because I'm not like, oh, I've got great control, I'm fucking mint, it's what I do for a living, is what I help people with. I still have worries like you. That's what makes me relatable, a lot of you guys say. So the first one is being laid in a hospital bed, not taking care of myself and my blood sugars and my health, friends, family, loved ones stood around me and being like, what happened? I'm like, I'm sorry, it's on me, I just didn't put my all into it. Second one is knowing that it probably is going to take some years off my life, no matter how well I control my diabetes. It probably will, in opposed to if I wasn't a type 1. And the third one is knowing that if I do ever develop something that's associated with diabetes health wise, and I can hand on heart say I've done my all, that's fine, I can live with that. If something happens and I can't put my hand on my heart and say I've done my all, that would be really hard for me to take. But then it would also be a lesson. It would also be a lesson for me. Team, that's it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this ride. Hopefully you guys got some value from this, as well as some good views. Make sure you hit like, subscribe to the channel. If you can relate to any of these points, please let me know in the comments. Like I said, I wanted to do this to speak to a lot of type 1s, and I know I am probably kind of looked up to in the type 1 community, but I'm still like you, I'm still a type 1. I still have worries, I still have struggles. I'm fucking human at the end of the day. So thank you very, very much for watching and for listening. Happy to be back on the bike, bringing you guys some more motor vlogs. Till the next episode, thanks again, have the fucking best day ever. Peace.